What's up, everyone? Monday prime time showdown breakdown time. We got a 2-gamer, Bobbywow. It's a little gift.
Let's go. It's always fun having two. Seeing that main slate, when you click DraftKings, you don't have to click Showdown. It's a beautiful thing.
The best. Jared Hamill, how much that Adonai Mitchell fumble cost us was something that we'll talk about for the ages. That was brutal. I had so much Adonai Mitchell. I had like 24%. That was insanity, but we're going to get it tonight. This was a spectacular weekend, though, for DFS Army, Bobbywow. We won 5 out of the 7 Pocket Mini Max tickets available.
You're kidding.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Raz got one. I don't have all the names, but it was a spectacular weekend. And what we've been doing is attacking, and there's one tonight too. So we've been attacking these Pocket Mini Max just for proof that the Domination Station takes down big tournaments. These are giant GPP sized tournaments, but the prize is this $1,000 ticket, but there's 20, 40, 60,000 entry. 5 of 7. Another absolute smash. Crazy, it was spectacular. Dixon side. Yeah. And there was a lot of people had some craft things going for yesterday. That was a brutal one as well. But spectacular weekend of action. And I want to keep it going for Monday Night Football. So we got an exciting 2-gamer between the Jets at Miami and the Bengals at Denver. Now, Bobbywow, Miami's at home. They're slightly favored against the Jets. Not heavy favored, very slightly favored. Miami's one of these teams that's always a little scary to play. You don't know which version, Jekyll and Hyde, that you're going to get. It's a little tricky. But that game looks to be, let's call it, the more competitive matchup.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have a Bengals team now heading on the road, really following up what was one of the most egregious smackdowns of a team that you're ever going to see. And now they're on the road against what is known to be a very, very good defense.
Yes.
So just when you first glance over at this, and this is why I think we're going to take this analysis levels. But when you first glance, you're like, fuck the Bengals. They're going to be terrible on the road. Tough matchup. Don't want nothing to do with that. Which, right, Bobbywow? Is that your first thought? Like, that's my first thought on the Bengals. Like, I don't want that. I want the other game.
Probably should be. My contrarian brain is really messed up. So,
well, no, the contrarian brain is good. We're going to get into the contrarian brain. But that's my first, non-contrarian. Oh, okay.
You see an 18.5 point team total, and that you might puke in your mouth a little bit. That is disgusting.
Doesn't look good. And then the other side does look good. Of course, expect the unexpected. You always want to kind of think of what can happen, not what is likely to happen. So we'll get into that. But first, let's do the matchups for these 2 games. And guys, for everybody watching, we are going to focus for this breakdown on the 2-game slate for strategy purposes because we don't get them all the time. So we're going to focus on the 2-gamer, but we'll give some information that will help with the single game slate. And of course, if you're DFS Army subscribers, we have our cheat sheets and full breakdowns for each of these individual games as well for the showdown aspect, if that's what you're into. But I love a 2-gamer. We don't get enough of these, so it's a special treat, and I'm not going to skip it, Bobbywow. Not doing that.
No, please.
Not doing that. All right, so let's get into this game, and I am not on that game right now, so whoops on me for not clicking over here. Here we go. All right, well, let's start with Miami Jets. And there's some sneakiness to this game, Bobbywow. Let's get into it. But starting off here, I'm not going to call it surprise, but the big thing that happened last week was we learned that it appears that Ollie Gordon is maintaining that RB2 role for Miami, right? Jalen Wright's coming back and this and that and the other thing last week. And, the coaches, we're going to try to get him. Nothing. It was nothing. Devon Achane, primary guy, the man, but Ollie Gordon getting a lot of carries in the Raheem Mostert, very voluminous backup role for Miami. Bobbywow, I have a slight feeling that it might be an Ollie Gordon type player that is the nut maker tonight.
Interesting. Now, is it Ollie Gordon himself to you, or just a backup running back?
No, it's something like that. I have a whole pile of them that are in my list of, who to throw in the flex for the last spot. So he's up there. I have a few strategy thoughts for tonight that are not that crazy, but nonetheless relevant.
I like it.
The return of D-Ron Waller.
Woo.
What could it be? Could it be special on a very gross tight end slate where there's nothing that stands out as any kind of good at all?
I was going to say, no spoilers, okay, but he's probably the best tight end in terms of athleticism on the slate, which tells you all you need to know about the position.
He's also the best in terms of rapper skills. Not a lot of people know that.
I don't know about that even.
He's got that old school vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Without knowing how anyone else sounds rapping, I'm not even confident in saying he's the best.
Yeah, no, he's got like that woo style. You know what I mean? Not the modern, the new style. He's old school. All right, so for Waller, right? Tyreek and Jalen Waddle out there the whole time. Malik Washington kind of taking over as that WR3 role that we maybe thought that Nick Westbrook-Akine would have. Westbrook-Akine has not done anything. So it's been all pretty much Malik Washington in recent times and on the season.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just that trio that's getting any kind of target share. The tight ends really don't get used much. I don't think they're relevant on the slate. And so we're going to have to make choices between in this game for this team between Hill or Waddle or how much of either one we want. Do you have any thoughts on Hill or Waddle other than we know who they are, we know what they're about, and yeah, they're good?
I think they're good. I think Tyreek Hill, it's noteworthy that he's been pretty consistently good these first couple weeks of the season, even with Tua not being great, for 2 of those 3 games. So look, I think just to kind of note again, like Mike McDaniel's offense, this Dolphins offense flourishes with a serviceable tight end available and on the field. I think now it's a big if with Waller, but if he is game ready and looks good, I think the Dolphins offense functions much better than what we've seen. And I think that involves the tight end quite a bit. So I hate to say it. I do like Waller here a little bit more than I should. But otherwise, yeah, I think it's Achane and then Reek and Waddle. You're going to have to mix those 2 guys in.
Yeah. And this question of who's sauce on, guys, I'm going to just put let me turn on comments so we can see them, but I'm going to put a damper on. We don't know. And by that, I mean, he's not going to be on the same guy the whole game. It's just going to switch, and you really cannot make, unless there's a like sauce on Evans, there's no one else situation happening. My guess would be, if I had to guess, Bobby, I'd say he'd be more on Waddle than Hill. Hill needs kind of like safety help over one guy can't really guard Hill, but maybe one can stop Waller. In the end, I would ignore it. I don't think you're going to be able to be right about guessing, and it will switch over the course of the game. It's not going to be a shadow situation, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be a shadow. So it really is Tyreek Hill. They're throwing to Tyreek Hill this year. As mid as he's kind of been, the team has been mid. I think it's Tyreek Hill who's he's still the main guy. Shift gears to the Jets, and it gets gross at wide receiver for the Jets. We'll get to that. The return of Justin Fields, that's exciting.
That's a win. That's a win for the Jets.
Yeah, that's exciting. I don't know. Actually, I don't even know if the team's going to be better with one guy, but it's more exciting to watch. That's for sure. Breece Hall has been splitting the carries a little bit, but I'm going to say not as much as maybe feared, but it is there. So 55% carry or snap share for Breece Hall, and they're bringing in Braylon Allen. They're even bringing in Isaiah Davis here and there. This reminds me of the Broncos 2024 situation where it looked like Javonte and he was okay, but they had 2 more guys that would mix their way in. So that's kind of what the Jets have going on at the running back position. Braylon Allen just randomly popping off is another one of those Ollie Gordon type, might be the guy this week. Breece Hall is going to be an interesting decision as well, but he's catching some passes. He's doing his thing. I don't hate Breece Hall here. he's not my favorite running back on the entire slate, but he's definitely not my least favorite. Let me put it that way. He'll be in a lot of my lineups just by default.
100%.
Close game. The wide receiver groups where it gets really weird. Like the pass catchers for the Jets are pretty gross here, Bobbywow. Check this out. So Mason Taylor, Jeremy Ruckert kind of splitting a little bit. Mason Taylor being the pass catching tight end and Jeremy Ruckert being this guy who's out there to block. He's the tip of this slate. What was that guy? Tip
Ryman.
He's the Tip Ryman here, right? And that's it. That's all they roll out there. At wide receiver, look at these numbers. There are names that I've never even heard. I'm a Jets fan. Like, I'm in New York, a fan of this team. And the first time I heard the name Arian Smith was today, right now, sitting here looking and realizing that he had a 77% snap count with the Jets. Like, who the fuck is that?
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
No clue.
Man.
But meanwhile, he got a couple targets, and Arian Smith, okay, and Tyler Johnson's the other guy that's out there. But really, these guys are somewhat irrelevant. They're turd relevant. Same thing with Lazard. Like, they have some minor turd relevancy. But the beautiful thing is, Garrett Wilson getting a 36% target share. You can lock button in Garrett Wilson on this slate. He will be in almost every lineup that I make, just because I'm going to take that. How does he come through the game without 10 targets?
Yeah.
He has the highest floor of any player at wide receiver on this slate. That includes Jamar Chase. That includes any player that you could think of. The highest floor is Garrett Wilson. That's my take, Bobbywow.
I agree. I mean, look, one thing's for sure about Justin. A couple of things. One, he can run, and two, he locks in on his number one target, and that is Garrett Wilson, far and away. So I fully agree. The floor is high. The ceiling is high. Really tough not to love Wilson this week.
Yeah, it's like almost a must play. And I like the ownership's not like reflecting that at all, by the way. It's not reflected in the ownership on the game, which I like as well. Beyond that, that's about it for the Jets. Alan Lazard started popping up a little bit last week. Kind of, oh, he's still on the team? Oh, yeah, I remember him. But just turd relevance.
Yeah, and you probably do want a little bit of like Tyler Johnson as well. Fields does unleash a couple deep balls a game. He'll hit like maybe 1 of 4 or 5, and if that goes to the house, that guy's going to be in the nuts on a 2-gamer. So,
guys, the name of the show is Where My Turds At. These are the turds, man. These are the ones that you're going to need to find somebody like this. I'm telling you, when you make your lineups for the slate, there's affordability all over the place. You can play whoever you want. So when that happens, you have to almost forcibly make sure that you get exposure to you cycle through the turds. You cycle through the turds. Got to keep going around. And then you just accidentally catch the right one. Very tough to know
exactly
who it will actually be. Let's go to Cincinnati, Denver, and see if we can get any sort of ideas here of the usages. So taking a look at Denver now. J.K. Dobbins. This is important. And I think J.K. Dobbins is one of the better plays on the slate as well for not super high ownership, but Dobbins 70% snap count to RJ Harvey 30. So this is a very classic split, 70-30 starter, main guy, and then backup snaps for RJ Harvey, who has some explosive upside and actually has caught a couple, or at least been targeted a smidge more than J.K. Dobbins so far on the season. Dobbins,
at least last week,
yeah. Dobbins, you're sort of lock buttoned in. I think he's in a good spot. Favored running back, probably going to get a touchdown today. And then RJ Harvey as the RB2 that you could play with J.K. Dobbins if you need to, or without. Irrelevant, but could be that turd that pops for the winner. I could see it with Harvey because there's some mild blowout potential with this game.
Could be.
I'm not sure that Harvey gets blowout run, but if he did, I would give him blowout run if I was the coach. I'd want to give him some experience, but I don't, if it happens, we'll see.
Sean Payton's a kind of a psychopath, so tough to say.
Yeah, never know. The rest of these guys, nothing really going on there. Nothing super going on here. Tyler Batty, Jaleel McLaughlin do get in the game on occasion. They do get in the game on occasion. So they're, I guess, somewhat relevant. The big news for Denver today is was he back last week? Evan Ingram without a Q tag, practicing in full, is back to full health. We mildly liked Evan Ingram going. It's relevant on the slate, Bobbywow. You got to choose.
It absolutely is. No, it absolutely is.
Yeah. How do you feel about Evan Ingram?
Frustrated. That guy's maybe the most frustrating player in a while that I can remember. He's in such a good spot, man, to flourish. And, it felt like some things started to click with the Jags last season. And then he came over to the Broncos and he's been awful. I know he's been dealing with injuries, but he's always dealing with injuries. So the guy is a very talented player. He's got upside. We've seen big games from him last season even, but he hasn't put it together. If he's fully healthy, maybe that's a sign, like maybe Evan Ingram night tonight, but he's just such a frustrating player to roster.
Could be Evan Ingram night, though. I don't care about the frustration. I want you to leave your Cedric Wilson, leave your personal biases aside.
Yes.
Put him away. I don't care. He dropped a pass when Danny Jones was the quarterback on the Giants. I don't care. It's a one-game slate. We've been waiting for Evan Ingram to break out. He had wonderful games last year. Let's not forget this guy.
He did. He was great last year.
Last season. And by the way, look at what Trevor Lawrence has looked like since Evan Ingram left that team.
Although yesterday was pretty good.
No, Trevor Lawrence still looked like shit yesterday, even though they won. Watch the game. He did not look good. He stinks. I think he is like terrible. I'm praying that Liam Cohen can exorcise the demons and resurrect him, but I'm not sure. He still stinks. It's not randomization. We'll show you. You're going to have to.
Lawrence.
Yeah, you're going to have to make certain rules to cycle through the turns. We'll talk about that. At wide receiver, Troy Franklin is now officially the solid WR2 for this team. He's on the field as much as Courtland Sutton. He is that guy. Courtland Sutton, the main man, 32% target share last week, 25% on the season. He qualifies as a dominator and a very good play on the slate. And then Marvin Mims is the X factor for this team. Still has not had that big output day, Bobbywow, but Marvin Mims remains the X factor. The air yardage is crazy. When they throw deep, they throw at him. Again, I'm not sure how relevant all of this will be in the context of how this game plays out, but we need to know who the important people are here. Pat Bryant at this point, Trent Sherfield, complete afterthoughts.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, let's shift over to the Bengals. And we can maybe glean some information. I don't know what you can glean from what they did last week. It was horrible, but
you can almost throw it out.
Yeah,
you can almost throw it out.
Listen, I'm just going to speak to what we know. There is some relevance here that we can get into, but there's some items we have to cover here. But first of all, Chase Brown has been an absolute disaster. If you drafted him so far this year, the panic is real on Chase Brown. He's going to be a tough trigger pull today. We're going to have some exposure, Bobbywow, but
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think Chase Brown is going to get tons of work, and I think my hunch is he will come in under owned. I know he's still projected a high ownership right now. I think he'll be under what the field projections are because of the exception that the Broncos are a fantastic run defense. That just hasn't been the case. At least not this season. Now, I know they're back home. That changes things. Also, Jake Browning under center, not ideal for Chase Brown. But I do think the opportunities will be there, and I think he has a better game tonight. How could he not?
I mean, I hope so. It's been pretty brutal to start. It's
been bad. Absolutely.
I don't even know if I should take a mea culpa on my love for Chase Brown in fantasy football. It's been the biggest miss so far of my drafting season. I really would love it.
I do think we need to kind of slow down and take a breath with him a little bit just because of the injury to Burrow. And it's been 3 games, right? There's time. But yeah, it's been really bad. It's been ugly.
I mean, if you're the Bengals, you would really want to get Brown going and try to, have a running
You
game.
need him to get going.
Yeah.
The Bengals aren't winning a shootout or a high-scoring affair with the Broncos. That's for dang sure.
It's going to be sneaky. So I will take a look at some of the ownerships in a minute as we break down the actual game and see maybe that's a sneak spot. I don't know that I feel like I want to be over on it, but maybe the answer is don't go super under or maybe match the field. I don't think he's going to be under. There's very few. He'll probably be 40-50% even still, which makes it very difficult to get leverage. We appreciate you, Sammy Telesco, as well. So let's continue on. I thought that Mike Gesicki would elevate with the injury to Eric et al. Or however that's pronounced. I thought Gesicki would kind of elevate into something. That really hasn't happened here yet at tight end. It looks like they mixed up Drew Sample, Gesicki, and just they played them all. They threw a little bit to Gesicki. They threw a little bit. So they throw to these guys. I still think Gesicki is the best one of them. What do you think?
He's the best one in the sense that he can put up a tournament-winning score. I think he's kind of like a poor man's Hunter Henry, right? Now we've seen a couple good games out of Henry this year already, which is kind of changing that narrative a little bit. But Gesicki has the ability to score multiple touchdowns in a game, and it feels like he pops. Like one or two times a year at least, he's good for it. So I don't see how he doesn't get more involved this week.
And, backups usually like throwing to the tight end also. Browning is a backup. You could see the tight end in the middle of the field, all that. So they do tend to excel. And again, we got to throw away what happened last week. Last week was an absolute debacle.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be another debacle of that, but it could be. It could be. But again, expect the unexpected. We need to build for what can be.
Yes.
Not what should be or what is most likely to be, because that doesn't win 2-game showdowns. That does not win these.
I thought we were getting unburdened from you there. Okay.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about it, but I chose not to. At WR3, so at the wide receiver group, Yoshivas, this is another thing that I thought would change this year, and it definitely hasn't. I thought that Jermaine Burton would take over maybe and get that WR3 role. Nope. They went right back to Yoshi. But I think the last week's target share is very telling of what to expect from this team. So let's get into it. You got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Yoshivas as your trio. Chase, 27% of the targets last week. T, 15. Yoshi, 8. And it's a very clear what's going on here. Backup quarterback is going to focus on the premier WR1. There's also a lot of data from the last time Browning was the quarterback for the Bengals for an extended period of time, that a similar phenomenon of kind of focusing on Chase, T. Higgins, significantly less average production than usual, and so on and so forth. So it kind of matches up with somewhat what you'd expect, but the targets are going to Chase first. Higgins, definitely significantly down off of his usual. And then Yoshi last week didn't even see a target. My question for you, Bobbywow, this matchup includes Pat Surtain. Okay. Right? Should we, much like the Sauce thing, should we have any concern at all here? I think if anything, Surtain is spending most of his time on Higgins anyway. I don't really see any need to adjust an approach here.
Yeah, I don't know that you adjust an approach. I think the concern is you have Surtain and also just a really solid secondary overall for Denver. So it's a tough matchup, arguably tougher on paper than last week when the Browns, when Cincinnati looked atrocious through the air. So I don't know that it's a one player, adjustment you have to make, but just know that it is a very, very tough matchup in the secondary.
Yeah, none of these other guys get involved. So the good thing is we don't really have like turds on this team to overly concern ourselves with. So I'm not going to over concern ourselves with this. Let's jump over. Actually, we're going to jump over to the domination station and take a look at some ownerships.
And as you're doing that, I think that's maybe the most important argument for Chase Brown tonight is that there aren't turds to deal with. There at least two of the four teams. There's running backs that are getting 30 to 40% of the snaps relative to the first guy. Chase Brown's going to be in there as long as he's healthy. He's going to be the primary back. So that's, to me, that's one of the core arguments for Brown is that, he is the clear workhorse guy and they're going to ride him as long as they can. Yeah.
On the downside though, he's been garbaggio.
Of course, you got to do something with those touches, but the volume will be there.
When you are the Bengals and you have the backup quarterback in And you saw what happened last week against the Vikings. You saw the ineptitude. You saw that your pocket passer is not like he's not calm in the pocket. Would you not come in with a screen heavy game plan? Like, to me, how do they not come into this game with a screen heavy game plan? Chase Brown nuts running back out of nowhere could happen.
Probably just takes time. I mean, think about it. Like, how much time are the Bengals scheming up screens and short passes when you have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Burrow? This is probably a totally flip the script type of situation for them where, maybe it's going to take a couple weeks, but I think you're right. That, to me, that's their only shot at being competitive and keeping them in the playoffs until Burrow, if he comes back. I think we see that change a little bit here tonight.
These guys are not making the playoffs.
Their schedule, man. I think it's doable.
Really?
If Burrow can come back when as early as he possibly can, I think it's doable, but we'll see.
Yeah. And Jake P is correct as well. Players are never as bad as they were the week before. It's always darkest before dawn. And we've seen Jake Browning play competent quarterback in the National Football League in the past. So we also need to, I'm looking again at what can be, not what should happen. And there's a world in which this game plays a little closer. The fact that everybody, the fact that everybody look at all right, let me just load up ownerships. And this is where the leverage is going to happen. So I've got the quarterback position loaded up here, Bobbywow. Everybody's playing Bo Nix.
That's crazy. I mean, I get it. It makes sense on paper, but man,
it's a lot of Bo Nix, right? Bo Nix on a team that could easily just score with their defense, have running backs dominant, and Bo Nix doesn't need to do much. That's a dangerous chalk if I've ever seen it.
Yes.
If somebody had the balls to full fade Bo Nix on this slate, if you're watching this and you kind of what, I'm sacking up, I'm fading that shit. I believe that's the correct way to play DFS. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I believe that's the correct way to approach this. Just don't play him at all. He's probably going to be the highest scorer. Okay. Fine. Lose.
Yeah.
That's the right way to do this.
Maybe.
The projection for Bo Nix and Justin Fields is effectively the same. Remember, the projection for Bo Nix is higher, but the true projection, the prop projection, the one that has given DFS Army our massive edge all season long, by the way, and the reason why DFS Army people keep winning these tournaments, that one is telling us there's no difference between these two quarterbacks. Now, I don't tell anybody to full fade anyone in Bobbywow. I did not just tell anybody to do that. I'm just saying I would respect that DFS move.
You don't even have to. Like to me, this is a spot where you can be way underweight. You can be 10 or 15%. And, if you're not part of the army, use those tools. If you're part of the army, the domination station, I love funneling rules and making it like a very, very, tight lineup situations where I have, 10% of Bo Nix out of 150, but only in lineups with 2 or more pass catchers, no Dobbins, no Harvey, that type of thing where you just really constrict the lineups he's in. But yeah, I agree. Like that chalky Nix, that's a great leverage potential spot.
It's an easy one to get off of. Like I said, Bo Nix will probably break the slate and all of that. And it's not a slate breaker when the highest one got. But that's not how you win tournaments. So there's that, right? But I had some, as we talk through this quarterback position, man, I just have a feeling that Tua might be the guy tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the most shocked of anyone at his ownership. I can't believe it's below 25%.
The Jets are a mess. When I started handcrafting lineups yesterday, I just felt I found myself going to Fields a lot, but Fields, you can only build so many versions of it because it's always like Fields and Garrett Wilson. It's almost a 2-man stack. So then it's like, all right, what else am I going to do here? And
which makes sense. I mean, and Fields gets her with his legs too. So like that, I get that.
Fields is a very comfortable play. Miami doesn't play a lot of good defense and the whole thing. But I think Tua is also very relevant at 10% owned. That's one of those guys that my first thought, I'm not playing Tua, he sucks. And then I'm like, I get it, but this is also a 2-game slate. You cannot think that way. you start thinking like that, you're going to be in trouble. I don't necessarily think I need to play Browning, though. I really don't like Browning, but
no one's going to play him. I mean, I think the only thing to consider here is just we can't lose sight of a 2-game slate where a quarterback can suck and still score enough to be the nuts.
Yeah.
Like Browning could throw 3 picks, but it could be a game like the first one when he came in for Burrow and threw 300 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns too.
So
like,
you're right. You cannot
that
fade
on
any
a
of it.
2-game slate. You just have to account for that.
I'm going to tell you some fundamentals we learned from 2-gate slate back testing for many, many years, and many of these. So a lot of it was always play more of effectively don't eat the chalk. That's really what we learned. Never go kind of over 50% on a player unless you're absolutely certain with them, even if they're a really, really great play, even if it's Christian McCaffrey. Like, it's been fundamentally better to fade ownership in these 2-game slates than not to, especially on the 70+% owned people. And certainly a 45% owned quarterback would qualify as. The problem is, even if you went all in on Bo Nix, you're probably, and he was the nuts, you're probably still not going to find it against 50%. Like, you're not giving yourself that much of an edge. Before we jump over to the running back group, Bobbywow, I just want to point out again, a lot of people were mentioning the arbitrage tool at Sharp app. It was another great weekend for arbing on the Sharp app, and I continue to tell everybody you need to check this out. Some of you guys who are watching this are doing it, but look at what's happening on screen right now. This is live right now, Bobbywow. So let's say you're a sports bettor and you're just like, hey, let me make a couple bucks right now. Just jump on the Sharp app. Oh, here it is. Mason Taylor, over 24.5, under 24.5. Oh, you'll pay me plus 120 for the over, and I have to pay minus 108 for the under. Meaning, if I bet, $375, no matter what happens, I'm going to win $10 on that one. That's sitting there right now, all day long, all the time. This is just a money clipping machine. I just popped on there last night. I saw 5% ARB for today's game. It was just random. I was like, okay, I'll take it. Boom. Helps my game. I did a live stream yesterday demoing the ARB tool and on Saturday, but I did one on Sunday. I made $270 in less than an hour on live in front of the camera on a live stream. It's available. You can watch it on my Twitter. I put it out there. Made $275 in an hour. Okay. So I advise everybody, if you're interested, if you bet on sports at all and you like to take money from the sports book instead of giving it to the sports book, check out Sharp app, check out the arbitrage tool. We've got a 1-week free trial, link in the description, but it's code GEEK or sharp.app/geek, and you'll get a 7-day trial to check out that and start our betting and taking back some of that money you're losing to the sports book on your average weekend, just like I do.
I did some arbing yesterday. I finally had 45 minutes during the slate. I got to make some pocket money back because I keep getting smoked by DFS Army guys. So
yeah, on the pocket minis,
it was kind of fun.
Yeah, I still can't believe 5 out of the 7 tickets, or 5 out of the 7 available in the big tourneys went to Army people. That was nuts. And I already have how much do I have? I have 3 tickets already. So we'll all be in there. It's going to be helmets after helmets everywhere. All right, let's take a look at the running back group. And we talked about that 77% owned situation. Devon Achane coming in at almost 80%, and I got to eat it. I like him at almost any ownership, but it is sketchy that high. So Devon Achane, 77% owned, monster prop, far and away the best play at running back. But the second guy that actually stands out here is J.K. Dobbins. He props a little bit better than Breece Hall for about the same price.
Yeah, and both Dobbins and Hall are propping a little bit better than Chase Brown for cheaper.
What's weird is the ownership is the same, and that's concerning. Like you would think that you could get Chase Brown at an ownership discount on this slate, but it's not available. You're paying full price for Chase, 50% ownership on all 3 of these guys.
I'd be shocked. I would be shocked if we locked and he wasn't the 4th lowest.
Yeah,
but we'll see. Yeah, that's what it looks like right now.
Yeah, some of you guys are talking about money savings, but Steve and everybody else who's watching, I'm just going to let you know, money savings is going to be irrelevant here. When you're making lineups, you're generally not able to spend, or you're generally not going to spend the full salary. And a full salary lineup is definitely not winning anything. So salary became irrelevant. You're really just playing players based on who could put up the most raw points, period. It does not matter the price. outside of Jamar Chase, who is somebody that restricts ownership just a little bit or salary just a little bit. If you don't play Jamar Chase, you could literally play whoever you want, and there's no restriction, and you have a few thousand left over at the end. So salary is not going to be a primary driver of how our lineups come together, which is why it's really important to build for game scripts and really build almost forced turret exposure on some of these slates. So Bobbywow, Breece Hall. I mean, the first thing we know is home favored running backs equals good. Let's go back to fundamentals. Achane, good play. Home favored running back, catches a million passes. He props out miles better than everybody else on the slate.
He's going to be in the nuts unless he gets hurt. Would you disagree? Okay.
Yeah, there's almost no version of this game playing out where he's not in the nuts. As long as he's not hurt during the game. I would say that Ollie Gordon has a chance to get there too, just as the backup who steals a touchdown or 2 touchdowns over the course of this game. But like Achane, sure. Now, going 100% Achane, that's not even going to help you. There's no way to get leverage on it. Basically, there's no leverage here. It's probably a play where if he's going to be 80% owned, we should probably be maybe a little under that. And maybe an injury does happen. It's hard to take down tournaments.
Yeah, it is.
Jamar Chase, J.K. Dobbins, Breece Hall, all the same. I think J.K. Dobbins is the next best play.
He scares me, man. He scares me. I know he's been great.
It's too good.
And he's in such a good spot.
Yeah.
All signs on paper point to playing Dobbins for sure. I'm not debating that, but he really something scares me about him.
He gets hurt a lot too. I mean, I'm not going to play for that, but like he does get hurt a lot. But J.K. Dobbins, but they're all the same. Breece Hall scares me. So you get scared off J. Dobbins. Breece Hall scares me and like disappears from the game at important times. All of a sudden you look up, you think you're getting a touchdown. It's Braylon Allen in there. It's not even him. It's Isaiah Davis. You're like, oh, the third guy.
Well, plus of any of these quarterbacks, Justin's going to vulture tutties from his running backs more than anyone else too. So definitely some scariness with Hall too.
Yeah, concerning. But
I will say this though. I think Harvey to me is the standout backup back. He will be the one I'll have the most exposure to as far as the backups go.
All it takes is 1 or 2. We just saw Woody Marks just go bananas.
And on DraftKings too, because we've seen Harvey feels like more and more integrated into the passing game. So I like taking some shots there.
I don't mind it. And you can afford it. It's really that flex spot. Guys, tonight, note that these games are not going consecutive. They are overlapping. So for whatever that's worth, there's not going to be a lot of time to swap or mess around. And
it's earlier lock tonight. So don't forget that either. I think it's a 7:15 lock.
Well, I got a lot of lineups reserved. I did a lot of FanDuel also. I like FanDuel for these 2 gamers. I don't know why. I just kind of do, because you don't have FanDuel is less turd important than DraftKings. Like it's all touchdown. So we could focus on these backup running backs instead of maybe some of those like tight end or wide receiver types that aren't likely to do a whole lot. All right. That pretty much covers the running back group. Is there anything here in the backups that I think you have to have some Braylon Allen exposure. You got to get some Ollie Gordon. You like RJ Harvey the most out of these?
I do.
How do you feel about 3 running backs
by far the most
in general? What's that?
I said by far the most. Look, I think that the wide receiver, there's 4 wide receivers that are very good, and then the rest are going to be mix and match. So you could certainly go 3 RB here. I just, to me, there's not enough of a price difference between the starters and the backups to make them truly worth a significant amount of exposure outside of Harvey for me. But like Ollie Gordon, 4,500. Yeah, he scored last week. He's getting some of the touches, but he barely eked by. He didn't look great, and he kind of got lucky with a goal line.
He definitely lucked into it.
He lucked into it.
There didn't throw to him.
But yes, injury. Someone gets hurt. One of these guys is going to be in the nuts for sure. So you got to account for that.
And there's a path to it without an injury.
I think Harvey has the best one. Yeah. But yes, like you said, Ollie Gordon's getting carries. Braylon Allen's in the game too. He's getting a handful of carries, even with Hall in there. So yeah, I agree. You got to factor that into the equation.
I mean, and you also have 4. It's not just that. They don't just have to do something, by the way. There's a secondary factor of there are 4 running backs. Like multiple of these other running backs would have to not do something because salary doesn't matter. Like, they'd have to outscore probably that $4,500 guy has to outscore everybody between pretty much 4K and 5,500. That's how this slate is going to work. They have to outscore everyone because who am I putting in the flex? Could be anybody. They have to outscore all of them. So if I put a $4,500 Ollie Gordon in there, he needs to outscore all of these other running backs, all of the actual starting running backs, and probably some pay down options at wide receiver, a Troy Franklin. There's all these different kind of things. There's a lot of factors to it. You almost have to forget the position and just, it's a player in the flex, and I need to cycle through a lot of them.
Exactly. Yes.
All right. Let's jump over to why. Do you have any final thoughts? No. Yeah. That's running back is covered. So let's talk about wide receivers now.
Let's do it.
I have these sorted by ownership primarily. So you could see here that Jamar Chase, highest owned guy by far, 70%. I actually don't feel like it's the must own of the lifetime to have Jamar Chase, but I do like him, of course. When you play Chase, you do run into some salary constraint, minimal. It's not too bad. Garrett Wilson, super high floor. Look at the prop projection. I don't even think is doing him justice in some way. Cortland Sutton projects just slightly above Wilson, and Tyreek Hill's right there. But the reality is these three players, Wilson, Reek, and Cortland Sutton, have effectively almost the same exact projection.
And that to me is your best case against Chase. They are propping the same for 2K less. So if there is a player that you like that you can't get to because you have Jamar Chase, there's your decision made right there. Yeah. The props projection is saying these guys are going to, in the exact same ballpark.
Like, look at what this is telling us, Bobbywow.
Yeah,
there is no difference between Chase, Wilson, Hill, and Cortland Sutton in projection. No difference. And yet, expensive Jamar Chase will be 70% owned. And these other guys they're still high owned at 60%. So it's not like you're getting a discount, but they're all high owned, right? Like, okay, I could see Bobbywow. Could you see just popping over 60? Like, the guy that stands out to me is definitely Garrett Wilson. Can you see popping it to 100% for 300 lineups, or is that just absurd? You can't do that.
I wouldn't. I hate 100%ing or 0%ing. That is never something I've done. No need to. But you can go 80%, 85%. Absolutely get a little over here.
You got to talk me off the ledge, Bobbywow. I'm like, lock button. I don't care. But you're right. It's probably not the right move because we could be right every single other spot, and then just making that one absolute decision is the thing that costs you. And there was no need for the absolute decision.
I think I will say this. To me, Wilson and Sutton are cash locks. If you're playing in cash games, please have both those guys in your lineups. Garrett Wilson and Cortland Sutton.
I think Tyreek Hill's just as good. They're going to be throwing it to Reek, no?
They are. He's a great play. I just think Wilson and Sutton are going to get theirs. Great matchups, tons of volume. Tyreek Hill, we've seen him bust before. That's the only reason I'm not a cash lock. But yes, of course, he's a great play. Yeah. Look at the prop projection. I'm just saying in cash, it's an easy decision.
It is. He's right there. He's the cheapest of them. They're all really close together. Now, the guy that should not be in your cash lineup is T. Higgins, who almost the same price as all of these other guys. There's a little discount, but again, irrelevant in the context of this slate. But he's massively projected worse. He's at 11 points to Cortland Sutton, Reek, Wilson, and Jamar, who are all at 15. That is a big difference in projection. GPP only. And he's 34% owned. He's owned almost as much as the rest of them. Man, it's hard to get leverage on these.
One thing I've kind of been toying with is, I want to get your thoughts, but no more than one of Chase or Higgins. Where are you at on that in my lineups?
unless it's a Browning lineup.
Unless it's a Browning lineup. That's a good point. Yes.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with eliminating that pairing.
Or maybe it's no more than two of Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Chase Brown.
Also acceptable.
I'm just
but if
trying
that
to
game
think about
pops,
how
you
to...
almost, I don't know. I guess maybe if that game goes crazy, there's no way
it's crazy already on those guys. But 18.5 point game total. Oh my God. I mean, that would be wild if all three of those guys were in the nuts. Possible, I guess.
Yeah. See, I think the way that this slate will be won is not with that upper group. To me, and the way I want to attack it is, all right, I'll throw my 60% exposure on all four of them. Fine. I'll accept it. Let's start with a baseline there. So everybody 60. They're all going to be in all these different versions. And then I think the slate is won down here in this area. This is how you win.
Agreed. I agree. Fully agree.
Yeah. So we got to get a little ballsy and a little stupid in order to win the monies.
It happens. I swear it happens every single 2 or 3 game slate. The very first game, the very first touchdown, you're like, oh my God, that's Tyler Johnson.
Yep.
I didn't have Tyler Johnson in my lineups. I'm done.
I can't.
I swear. I think it was like Devontae Walker last 2 gamer. It was
one guy I unchecked.
It's almost a guarantee.
Yeah, always. That's why we say where my turd's at. You don't play the right fucking turd, you are going to be done. 5 minutes into the game, Ty Johnson scored. Malik Washington, who? Malik what? That? Shit. And then you're done. Yeah, Arian Smith out of nowhere. That's right. Who the fuck is that guy? We already did that. I'm not doing it again. But it's gonna. I think it's gonna be one down here, Bobbywow, and it could be Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin is not even low on. Like that's just a good play, by the way. Love Troy Franklin tonight. Good play. Marvin Mims Jr., a good tournament play. Marvin Mims Jr. has 21-point upside. We've seen him do it. Jets turds, fine. Is Josh Reynolds healthy? Actually, I believe Josh Reynolds not having a Q tag probably means we won't see Arian Smith getting that many snaps anymore. So there's that. Allow versus defense is a really good question, Carmen. Allow 3 versus defense on this slate. Don't let the defense dictate too much of what you're going to do. And I'm going to have so much Broncos defense, they're going to be coming out my wazoo. But we're getting to that.
I wish we had Fling or one of our Broncos experts in the chat, because Mims was added to the injury report. He practiced limited Friday, but then on Saturday he was a late add to the injury report with a hip issue.
Concerning.
If for some reason he didn't play or was limited, that would elevate Mims for sure, and also Pat
Franklin.
Bryant into consideration.
Pat Bryant?
I'm sorry, Franklin and Pat Bryant into consideration.
No matter what happens, Trent Sherfield will never be in consideration. Is that agreed?
No, if he beats me, I'll tip my cap to Trent Sherfield.
Yeah. These guys saying Yoshi. Yeah.
I like Yoshi. Yeah, that's another guy you got to have. I'd be overweight on Yoshi.
Yeah. You got to just, and here's the thing about how a 2-game slate works. And I do like the Dobbins anytime touchdown prop. You could definitely do that one. But when you're forcing Yoshi will not show up in your lineup au natural. He will not show up. You got to force it. And this is just like how you force turd exposure. I'm just going to hit a 5% on him or a 7%. And I'm just going to force that to occur in some number of the lineups that I build, because he will not be plucked into lineups naturally. A little bit of that, a little bit of Tyler Johnson, a little bit. And then you make a secondary rule that says not more than one of these turds in any lineup. And that's how you can force exposure to all of these players that you normally would not want to play, but that win you tournaments and showdowns. What do you call these? Prime times. Prime times less turdly than a showdown. But those players also get less ownership than they would in showdowns.
Yes.
You can leverage them.
That's the thing. And please note that you don't have to put 50% of Yoshi in your lineups. You can have 7 to 10% and have plenty of leverage on the field.
All these guys, all these 1% owned guys. If it's Tyler Johnson, Josh Reynolds, Malik Washington, I'm looking at the projected ownership amount and thinking if I double or triple that, then fine. That's more than enough.
And I would definitely include Pat Bryant. I would definitely include him in that turd mixture of 5%, 6% turd mix.
All right. I'm going to put a little thingy in there as a reminder.
There you go.
Even Westbrook-Akine. Has this guy not beaten us enough times to know that he's not somebody to just not have any exposure to?
He's going to get targets in the red zone, which is part of why he hasn't been involved. They just haven't spent a ton of time in the red zone yet.
Yeah, so. I doubt he gets a lot of targets, but I'll tell you what I did in the single entry was I did not play these kind of turds. The turdliest I went was Troy Franklin. Because when
single entry is tough for these two gamers.
I just like to play the good plays in single entry and hope it works out.
Yeah.
But I don't, when I do that, I'm not in a 100,000 person contest. I'm in like a 350 person contest. So
right.
There's a much greater chance that if Nick Westbrook-Akine goes
no
off,
one has
him, it doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. When you're in those contests, it doesn't matter. You shouldn't do this in a single entry with 200-300 entrants because no one will have Westbrook-Akine, so it can't hurt you.
Yep.
Any other wide receivers to mention, or otherwise? Jermaine Burton, is that a relevant guy? Probably not.
I like the ones you added some min exposure to here. Yeah. Love Yoshi. Pat Bryant's in play. Josh Reynolds would be another one. Ty Joe for sure.
Yeah,
and then Reynolds I would also.
Yeah, I mean, if this guy plays, I'm going to put mins on all these guys, and later on I'll come back. Malik Washington, that's for sure. And then later on I'll come in and make a rule that disallows more than one of these guys in lineups, and that's how I'll kind of create the rotation of turrets through the different lineups that we're building today.
Malik at 5% ownership is too low. He's a guy you probably want. I'll probably end up at 20% of Malik easily.
Yeah. Malik, the thing that could hurt Malik is I feel like they put him in the tight end role, the Jonnu Smith role from last year, and maybe if Waller plays, they start giving him those targets. Let's probably still go to Malik.
Yeah, Malik he's a quick player. He's probably going to still see the field a good amount.
Yeah. All right, we'll give him a min of 10 for now. I'll get that set up.
He props better than Mims for what it's worth, just barely.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at the tight end group. That's right. That's exactly Bentman. You know the rule already.
It is.
It was invented by Taco, the Taco turd rule, as they say. Of just like, hey, if I want to play these turrets, I don't want too many of them together. All right. Tight end group. This is the grossest position group of this entire slate. There's not a single standout. There's not really a good projection, although Mike Gesicki and Evan Ingram are certainly outpropping Taylor and Waller, even though Mason Taylor is projecting as the highest owned guy. So, Bobby, what's up with that?
It's such a slight difference. It's really, you're talking, 5.8 versus 6.3 here. To me, that's not enough to, draw like a very concrete line in the sand here. I think we already talked about it. To me, the slate is going to be one at wide receiver. You want to make sure you're mixing in turds there. I love taking stands. I don't think the tight end position is a place to take a significant stand here tonight. I think you want to mix all four of these guys in. Maybe a little Troutman, maybe a little sample, but I don't know that I'm ready to take any like major stand. I'll probably be overweight on Waller a little bit, but not like, no one 50 or 60% owned for me here.
Yeah, I would agree. You don't want to have too much. I mean, Mason Taylor got a few targets last week. That was a different quarterback. Justin Fields hasn't really thrown to him at all, but whatever, right? Gesicki, I don't know. Evan Ingram finally healthy. That could be good, but we don't know how competitive that game's going to be. And Darren Waller is as mysterious as it gets, and his prop is terrible.
Yeah.
So, yes, could one of these other guys get there? Adam Troutman, Tanner Hudson, I guess.
Can I say something a little crazy? I would, as gross as it is, nobody is going to play double tight end on this slate. And I think there's some enough intrigue for me to play some double tight end here.
A little bit. You know, I'm normally very big on double tight end in on a 2-game slate. And there's a phenomenon where double tight end absolutely wins at a ridiculously high rate. Like it's been over the past few years, it's been in the 35% range, maybe even tick higher than that on 2-game slates. But the phenomenon of those slates, Bobbywow, was generally that salaries were not just like super easy, or there was at least one acceptable tight end on most of them.
Yep.
We don't have even one acceptable tight end. So man, it's going to be tough to allow for a second one. I will mostly cap tight end in the flex for this one. Maybe 10% I'll allow.
I don't know that I'll be capping it. Yeah. I agree. I fully agree. It's gross, but at the same time, they're priced like gross tight ends as well. We'll see if it frees anything up. Like if you're playing Jamar Chase, that to me is one way to get unique and different, is a double tight end approach where you don't destroy the rest of your lineup. But yeah, there's no way around it. It's nasty, man.
I'd rather play no tight end. I just want to take a 0. No tight end.
It's just crazy to me that your starting tight ends like Mason Taylor is cheaper than any wide receiver on the slate.
Yeah. And it's
Mike Gesicki cheaper than any wide receiver on the slate.
And let's continue to like think about what's in the flex, right? So we have our starting tight end, we have all our wide receiver, we have our team. And then for the flex, let's say you have $5,600 or $5,800 in salary left. You have all these choices. You're just going to have to find the raw points leader. And sometimes that's not, the $5,300 T Higgins or the $5,600 T Higgins. It's just, hey, Troy Franklin outscored him. Or in the weirdest of cases, wow, Evans went off and also Gesicki went off. Evan Ingram went off and also Gesicki or Mason Taylor went off. And by going off, that could just mean 12 points. They don't need to score that much. And the chat is talking about Hudson? Tanner Hudson? I don't know. Tanner Hudson has 8% snaps on the season, 0% snaps last week.
It's tough. Yeah. Tough for me.
Yeah. He's not exactly in the game. So if that were to pop off, which is possible, that would be a pretty big shocker.
The issue here is now with those turtly tight ends, unless you're double tight ending, they have to outscore the starting tight end. They have to outscore all the tight ends, right?
Yeah.
Because they're virtually the same price. The $2,500 min price, TE3 is the same freaking price as Gesicki or Taylor, basically. That's the problem for me.
Yeah. Backup tight end, same price as the starter. Crazy. Has Tanner been out? I mean, I don't know. Noah Fant is on the Bengals as well, right? So with Fant out, maybe you had Fant and Eric All on the Bengals both go down. Could this be the thing that we need to pay attention to? Gesicki gets the big bump because all the other guys are out this week.
Gesicki and Sample both got targets last week. Let's not overblow it here, right? But there will be targets to the tight end.
Yeah. All right. Defense for this one. I mean, there's one obvious one. There's one obvious, like, unfriend you. Even at 5% owned, I don't think Bengals defense is actually 5% is pretty fucking low. But
we can't unfriend. We can't.
No?
We can't do it. It's too low.
Bobbywow, you're always right.
No, I'm not always. That's definitely not true. And yes, you can unfriend them, I suppose, but you're not accomplishing anything.
Yeah,
you're ruling yourself out of a win more than anything else. Yeah. If the sky fell.
We don't need, like, a defense could break the slate just by a punt return touchdown.
Yes, exactly. You get a return touchdown, you get, a random fumble at the end, they bring it back. It's just like there's a lot of randomness and variant, more than we like to think when we're kind of picking these spots.
Yeah. So Bengals defense, the clear chalk is going to be Broncos defense at home, heavy favorites against a Bengals team that was like terrible last week. I don't have a problem with it, but my question for you at 53% is like, is that an acceptable ownership amount for like if I'm running my MME? Should I just match this?
Yep, I like matching the field on these prime time slates with defense. You will match it. It's hard to lose matching the field. You're probably not going to lose this slate here, or not take something down because of it if you just match.
Yeah. Jets and Dolphins both equally very playable to me. Dolphins defense is not a good defense, but the Jets have an offense that will feed defensive points when it's the Jets are like Jekyll and Hyde. Miami's kind of like Jets and Miami are both Jekyll and Hyde teams. Like the Jets will come out one day and look like the worst team you've ever seen on an offense, and another day it looks kind of good.
Yeah.
And Miami's been that this year, started horrifically, and then they've turned it around a little bit.
Fields will take sacks. If the Dolphins get out to an early lead and Fields has to throw, he's not the safest guy with the football either. So yeah, you could definitely make the case for either two of these defenses.
And by the way, on the flip side, Tua can be broken on the first sack, career ender, and then this whole game goes to shit.
That or Tua's in the game and he's throwing no-look screen passes that get taken back for 6 the other way. You see that against the Bills last week? What are we doing?
Anything can happen. Fields, the range of outcomes on Miami is so wide, you don't know what's going to happen. Again, Fields, because he's one head bump away from a career ender, you never know when it's coming. We don't need Achane. That's another thing. When you talk about fading Achane, we talk about fading Achane. It's scary. 80%. What if Achane gets hurt? Bobbywow, I'll add a second factor. If Fields gets hurt, Achane is done. He's never done well in a game without Fields at the helm. So it's Zach Wilson. The backup is Zach Wilson.
What?
Yeah, I believe the quarterback backup.
You mean Tua? You mean Tua, right? You're talking about Tua. You kept saying Fields.
Did I say Fields? No, I'm sorry. I got excited. If Tua goes down and gets hurt in this game, which is not out of the realm of, listen, I have Tua starting for me in one of my dynasty leagues, and I'm in perpetual fear in a super flex that he will be gone and I don't have anything to replace him with. And so every single game I'm nervous. I did mean Tua, guys, sorry. But if he goes down, it might as well be Achane getting hurt. The whole team is going to go in the toilet. So I don't know how to account for that, but we have to account for it.
I don't know. Yeah, because Achane is named on a main slate. I get it. On a 2-gamer, Achane doesn't have to put up 20 points. We see these pay-up running backs put up 12, 13, 14 points and end up in the nuts anyway. 2-gamers are just so weird, man.
Yeah, that's right. I was acting like Tua after getting blitzed. My head got confused. So I mean, there's just that. It's just something to know. Tua is a disaster. But yeah, defense. I could see the Jets putting up a nice score in this game.
Yep,
getting a couple sacks, maybe an interception. I could see Miami doing the same thing. So nice little even mix here. If you need to sprinkle a couple of Bengals just in case something crazy happens, that's fine.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, that's a lot of the and guys, if you're using the domination station to run lineups, if you want to use the domination station and you're watching this, you're like, wow, these guys have been winning everything. I want to check it out. These projections seem pretty good. Of course, we encourage you to go sign up at DFS Army, promo code Geek, 10% off VIP. And NBA is right around the corner. 4, 5, 10 different sports going simultaneous. It's really a wonderful community to be a part of. I strongly recommend everybody join the community.
Baseball, playoff baseball. Oh man,
playoff baseball.
We killed it. Yeah,
NBA starting in a couple weeks. Bobbywow.
It's all here.
Yeah,
you got Bedard and the Blackhawks back with hockey. It's such a beautiful time of the year.
Non-stop DFS coming. Of course, we got the NASCAR and the golf as well. So everything's covered here. But for those of you guys who are part of DFS Army already, reminder that in a 2-game slate, you want to allow some players versus your defense. That's what this setting allows for right here on the Domination Station Optimizer. And you have to allow, I would suggest at least 2, but maybe more. That's kind of a difference maker on these showdowns because some of the other tools that exist don't really allow for that. Or you have to make an adjustment, which people don't remember to do. Bobbywow, let's take a quick look at FanDuel and see what we can figure out there. I am playing FanDuel as aggressively tonight as DraftKings. Even more, I think I like FanDuel better for these.
I'll have to check it out. That's interesting.
P-owned, does it matter? No. As long as you're doing the thing that we're talking about, which is cycling through the turds and making sure that you kind of have mins and a turd rule, P-owned won't matter because you will be forcing a low-owned player in virtually every lineup just using that technique. All right, Bobbywow, let's take a look at FanDuel here, and I'm just going to see if there's any differences. So FanDuel looks like ownership also concentrated around Bo Nix. Price points are not really significant here on the salaries of these quarterbacks. It's 44% Nix, 30 Fields, and a little bit of Tua and Jake Browning, maybe a little more than on DraftKings, but pretty much the same.
Yep.
We'll go to running back here. If there was ever a, so here we go. On FanDuel, you get a little bit more of a boost for J.K. Dobbins, maybe versus, Chase Brown on FanDuel is still 60% owned. That's a lot of ownership. Pretty easy to leverage off of that. And Breece Hall gets the inexplicable discount on ownership. Yeah. What do you think there, Bobbywow? Talk to me. Take me through it. What's going on here? By the way, I'll mention one other thing on FanDuel. A touchdown from Ollie Gordon, a goal line touchdown from him or Braylon Allen, just a goal line score is worth much more than it's worth on DraftKings.
It is. Again, for me, it's Harvey even here. He's the only guy with an actual prop projection, which should tell you a little bit. And it's decent. But yeah, it's much different here than DraftKings with Ollie.
I feel like the reason that there's no prop projection on Ollie is not because there's no prop. I believe it's because of the second symbol. Yeah, that's probably why with him. Although, what's the excuse with Braylon Allen? I don't know. We'll have to look at that. But Ollie Gordon's probably the little two. Every time I see that little number, I'm like, oh, shit. It's hard to match up. Yeah, RJ Harvey down there.
I agree, though.
A touchdown here is worth a lot more. So I think these guys get a little more significant. And you see there's a little more ownership here. You're getting 7, 10%, 7%. So these guys are a little owned. Braylon Allen not, but Braylon Allen has just as much of a chance to get a touchdown as these other guys. I am going to be using all three of them. You know what messes me up, Bobbywow? Can I tell you what fucks me up? I'll use the old swear. When two of them get there, it's like too far for me. It's a bridge too far. Like the nuts is RJ Harvey and Braylon Allen. Oh man, I never considered playing two of those turds on a slate where you could afford whatever you want.
That'd be tough. Yeah.
I hope it's not the case.
Highly unlikely.
Yeah. I think it's a bridge too far. All right. Let's take a look at the wide receiver ownerships. And all right, so here we do have a difference because FanDuel rightfully priced up Jamar Chase to an insane level, which is capping his exposure just a smidge.
To Garrett me, Wilson. He's much easier to fade. And by fade, I mean go underweight on FanDuel. Because he's not getting there with 2 or 3 touchdowns. If he's getting there, to me, it's the PPR that carries him.
Yeah,
the volume on DraftKings. Here, he doesn't have that added benefit of the full point. So I'd much rather be underweight here on Chase.
You want to hear something funny on FanDuel without PPR? Because the touchdown upside is not really propping out for them on the sportsbook because of how negative everybody perceives this matchup and whatever. Cortland Sutton and Garrett Wilson and Tyreek Hill all have higher overall projections than Jamar Chase, if that's even believable for 2K less.
Yeah.
But when you look at the DFS Bro projection, it's massively higher for Jamar Chase, to be clear. The world will see that. They will not see this. Does that make sense?
Yep.
That's a good thing.
That's a crazy price. That's a crazy price tag for Chase with Jake Browning under center. Not saying he can't get there, but he definitely has to score once, maybe twice.
Jalen Waddle at a significant discount. I mean, relevant guy. T. Higgins. Waddle has ownership. I'm looking for ownership discounts more than anything. Who could score a touchdown at a discounted ownership? So Jalen Waddle is now the same as Troy Franklin, and weirdly Marvin Mims. They're all the same price. Price doesn't matter. Price doesn't even matter. Marvin Mims Jr. can score a touchdown if he's healthy.
Yep.
We just need the difference between FanDuel and DraftKings is exactly what you said, Bobby. Wow. Number one is I'm generally going to try to play running backs in the flex on FanDuel. So hopefully that works out. But second, it's really just about who gets a touchdown or a deep ball. Even a deep ball without a touchdown might not get it done. Like a 60-yard reception by Marvin Mims might not be enough to do it if he doesn't get in the end zone. 6.5 points, big shit.
Yeah.
Ollie Gordon running one end to goal line has the same 6.5 points as Marvin Mims catching a 60-yard touchdown. Think about that. Not a touchdown, a 60-yard reception without hitting the end zone. Think about that. It's the same. So we're going to cycle through these guys just the same. Who are the touchdown possible scorers?
Yoshi.
Any one of them. Tyler Johnson or Josh Reynolds, I guess.
T.Jo's getting a ton of run for the Jets.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he's going to catch a touchdown. They rarely throw near the end zone, but
it's fucking bananas. So once again, if what this is telling us is we can maybe be a little bit under on Jamar Chase. And just over on these other spots. How all in are you? Let me ask you this, Bobbywow. Wilson and Cortland Sutton at 58, 60%. Is that like, dude, that's enough? Are we just like, all right, even though I love Garrett Wilson, this is the field gets it, and that's enough. And we're not going to go over that.
FanDuel is a little scarier for me. Like on DraftKings, those guys are similar, right? Ownership's like 55, 60, 50%-ish. You could definitely make the case to be 75%. 75 to 80% if you were super excited about them, which I think we both are. FanDuel is a little tougher for me to go, that high ownership wise, just because Sutton doesn't always score touchdowns.
Sutton has a 3-point game this year.
Same with Wilson. Like, Wilson's a volume. The volume is what makes him so appealing to me on DraftKings. It's not because I think he's going to score touchdowns. It's because the volume, the PPR. So I'm still excited on FanDuel. I'll have plenty of them. I don't know that I'll be going that much over the field here.
I'm just going to shout out Nate Shepard here, bringing up Ray Lucas. Like, you are truly a Jets fan. Truly, Nate Shepard. And a man after my own heart. Jets, what's up? But like, to bring up Ray Lucas, who no one except for Nate Southern and other Jets fans would have any idea who the hell that is. That is one insane obscure reference right there. And I believe Ray Lucas had one magical game. Maybe it was a Monday night game for all I know. I don't remember. That's going back to the 90s, I think. Still remember that. Do
you have any insights on Josh Reynolds? I wanted to ask that quick before we wrap up. You're as the Jets fan.
He hasn't played. So like, I don't know.
Is he going to play though? Like they're not going to give old man Lazard snaps over him, right?
No, I think if he's healthy, Josh Reynolds was brought in to be the WR2. Okay. He should be the guy who's on the field the most out of all of them. Ty-Joe is replacing Josh Reynolds because Reynolds got hurt. So I need to read a little bit about like this injury and how back he is. There's not that much information because no one gives a shit about any wide receiver on the Jets at this point. The beat writer, I'm like, Rich Samini doesn't even know the answer to this here in New York. But yeah, I mean, Josh Reynolds is the WR2. He's the guy they brought in to have that role. He's just been hurt.
He's kind of the guy that I'm falling for a little bit. Him and Yoshi, the two kind of turtly wide receivers on both sides.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. It's going to be something like that. What? Who burned us on the last showdown? Like 5 minutes into the first game, it really was like.
Wasn't it a Raven? Was it Walker? Was it?
It must have been that. I don't even know. It wasn't that one. It was one before. But
Wallace.
It was something like a Tylen Wallace. I was like, who? And that was it. The whole thing was done. Defense looks exactly the same on DraftKings and FanDuel. There's a lot of benefit here, I think, to playing Denver, but I think Jets are live. I think Miami is somewhat live. Actually, in my order of what I think is a good defense for today, let me put it like that. I would go Denver, Jets, Miami, Bengals in that order.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of like final thoughts here. Bobbywow, what are your final thoughts here? We kind of talked about we talked about some approaches. I think you're building lineups today with the understanding that you're going to leave a lot of salary on the table. I don't think the winner will spend all of the salary. On DraftKings, I'm not going to force 3 running backs in every single lineup.
No,
but I might force that on FanDuel. I'm a forcer of 3.
Yeah. Man.
And your favorite turds, Bobbywow. I don't know if Troy Franklin, he does not consider it a turd anymore, so we're going to take him off that list. And you said RJ Harvey, sneaky.
RJ Harvey at running back, I'll be overweight on. I think, Malik Washington, not even necessarily a turd, but I like being over the 5% on DraftKings, especially. FanDuel, he's not as cheap.
Yeah, he's basically free. No, he's free on both. It's a 5K on FanDuel is basically free. So, yeah.
And then I think, the super turds, to me, I really like having some Yoshi exposure. And I Reynolds, for whatever reason, I'm going to try to have 5 to 10% of him as well.
Little Yoshivas, little Reynolds.
The only other honorable mention is if Mims is out or we get word that he's limited, I'll be sprinkling Pat Bryant in as well. But Yep, that's where I'm going. Guys,
that's going to do it. That's a fun 2-game slate. There's a lot of contests going right now. If you're reserving right now, you have every price level in existence. I'll tell you guys that even FanDuel right now, if you're not a big maha, if you don't want to be the big dog, not a big shot, there's a nickel game. There's a quarter game. You can literally max this tournament. You don't need to spend a lot of money. Okay. Where can I find? I don't even know how to make it show on my screen. Trust me, it's there. I don't know, but it's there. There's a nickel game. There's a quarter game. There's really, really inexpensive. And that's a fun way to attack this kind of contest. The other way that I enjoy attacking these contests personally is always going to be, Robo Geek. Is my microphone okay?
It's okay right now.
Yeah. I think it's when I'm moving screens around, but the fun way to attack, do some multipliers. What I did for my multipliers is I did a Fields one. I did a 201, whatever I'm comfortable around. I just build and I'm thinking through game scripts as I'm putting these lineups together. That was my next. Wait, that's my week 5 stuff. You don't need to see that yet. Spoiler alert. But I want to be thinking through the game script for every lineup that I'm building. So if I have a Fields lineup, am I going crazy with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen? Probably not.
No.
So I'm just thinking through in that way. I want to think about versions of the slate that plays out where Denver absolutely dominates the shit out of the Bengals with their defense. That is a possible approach, and we must build lineups for that. But also, separately, have approaches that say everybody thinks that's going to happen. What if it doesn't happen? What if the Bengals come in and Browning looks fine and they're competent? And everybody, the unexpected, expect the unexpected. It's like Big Brother. Julie Chen walks out. She's like, expect the unexpected. You know Big Brother, Bobby?
Is that a show? That show? No.
No?
Oh, God, no. Is that like a reality TV show?
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. At this point, it's nostalgia for me.
That's so funny.
Like me and my wife started watching Big Brother when we were like engaged.
Wow.
We loved it. First season. Survivor. Actually, it was Survivor. Big Brother maybe came a couple years later.
Wow. Okay,
me and my wife got engaged for the first season of Survivor. We watched it for years, and then we stopped watching it. And then recently, I was like, you know what? I want to feel like we did when we were first getting married. Let's watch Survivor. They still have new seasons of it. It's like nostalgia.
Survivor, I get. Big Brother.
Yeah, Big Brother. I love that show. I want to be on it. But I'd be the dad on it at this point. Sadly,
you'll have to loop me in offline on that one. You got to catch me up because I don't know anything about
it. The theme of that show is expect the unexpected. All right. That's going to do it for this one, guys. Remember, you can sign up at DFS Army. Promo code Geek gets you 10% off. Also, a reminder that, look, ARBs are going nuts. There's an 8%er sitting there right now for you to take. That is crazy, Bobby. Why am I doing this? Every second that I'm recording this show, I'm
taking it from me. I can't. I'd be taking it right now. I can't bet
8%, 7%.
Illinois college football.
What are these two doing up here?
State.
They pop up nonstop. This is a money machine. If you're a sports bettor, just test it out for a week. Don't go crazy. You grab an 8%er, grab a 7%er, pay for your stupid parlay that you're going to lose money on, your touchdown parlays, or your whatever parlays you love to do on Sunday that you put $20 on and you always lose it. Take the money back using this tool. Make an ARB, make $30, do a stupid parlay with it. Have fun like that without spending your own money. All right, so Sharp that app, promo code Geek. That's a 7-day free trial to all of what Sharp offers, including the arbitrage tool. And there's a lot going on. Megan, what's up? Does the strategy change when only doing 20 max entries? Thank you for asking that before we left. Yes, it absolutely changes. And I'm going to tell you the fundamental difference. And listen very carefully, you and everybody else who is doing 20 max. You will not win if you use more than one quarterback in 20 max. Make a decision, stick to it, and allow for the fact that if you're wrong, who gives a shit? I was probably going to lose money on this anyway. I know it's difficult to get past that hurdle. One quarterback and one quarterback alone. And build all of your lineups around a script for that one quarterback doing well. So if I was 20 maxing this contest and I made a decision to use Justin Fields as my quarterback, I will probably have 100% Fields. I'll have 100% Garrett Wilson. I will allow for extra exposure to the Josh Reynoldses and whatever other turds we discussed, even Breece Hall. And then I'm going to play that as if the other game wasn't being sexy. So I'm playing Broncos defense in that one. I'm probably avoiding a lot of the offensive pieces from the Bengals in that version. Or if you wanted to, in my mind, I think it's contrary, but you want to do Knicks, you do the same concept, except in that version. Now, hey, if you're playing all the Knicks, that probably means that the way the slate would have to play out, but you play 100% Knicks. That's the important part. You go all in on one game flow and you just deal with, if you're right, advantage it. And if you're wrong, who gives a shit? I was probably going to lose this money anyway. Be willing to lose is the most important thing, and then go all in on one approach. And that's how you do 20 max. As far as setting up the optimizer, it's a little different, but in the end of the day, it's not that different. You just have to go all in on what you're thinking. Pick one. How about Tua? 11% on Tua. You play 20 lineups with Tua and it works, you are winning the tournament tonight. And then you're like, well, he's probably not going to win. Okay. You're probably not winning the tournament anyway, right? Only one person out of 100,000 is winning this. Robert Mitchum doing 152. I love it. Balls to the wall, bro. I have no problem with that. Be right. Be right. There's don't set. So our standard for a 2-game slate, what we learned over back testing in many years is really to limit all players to around 50%. Am I going to have the balls to do that with like a Garrett Wilson and somebody else? I don't know. But back testing through the years has shown me that there's never a time when you should be over 50% on any player in a showdown, even HN in the best possible spot tonight. But Bobbywow, here's what happens. When I say that and then HN goes off, they say, you told me not to play HN. And then I get heat from the people.
Yeah.
So I'm more hesitant to tell you this, but like, guys, we have checked this. And if you're going to mass multi-enter and you're going to run 150 only, it's almost never good to go over 50% on any player, even if it's Christian McCaffrey going up against the Panthers. Even if it's peak Adrian Peterson going up against the worst run defense ever in the NFL. It does not matter. There's never time to go over 50%. Or our back testing has shown that limiting even the studs to 50% does not harm your ability to win the tournament when that stud goes off. But it does harm your ability when he doesn't go off. So I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Right, Bobbywow? Is that like...
I think you nailed it.
Yeah, it does not help you when you go 100%. How do I know? Because I've back tested it. And I've had the exact settings, and I've taken it to 100, and it didn't affect anything. But when I take it, I don't know why. It's just the math of how it all comes together. And you know what? We shouldn't fight the math.
I want to fight it, but we shouldn't.
Yeah, HN 80% on FanDuel. You should not be 80% exposed to anybody like that on FanDuel. As much as I think HN is great, and I think he's going to score a touchdown. By the way, touchdown props today. So, Bobby, everybody loves touchdown props. Who do you think? Give me your most likely player to score a touchdown in the slate, or who you're comfortable with betting a touchdown prop.
Comfortable? I'm not giving you comfortable because I'm not comfortable. I would guess like J.K. Dobbins would have the best touchdown prop.
He's my favorite of them too. But it's you're going to pay minus 150.
I think he has the best prop. Like yeah,
you're going to pay for it. But yeah,
makes sense.
All right, everybody. Good luck tonight. Helmets up. Remember, we are back tomorrow. First looks, FanDuel, DraftKings. Everything's going on here on the DFS Army YouTube channel. First looks, FanDuel, DraftKings tomorrow. I've already started looking at next week's slate. I can't wait. Last night I was up till 2 a.m. looking at this, and then I'm like, let's see what's going on next week. Like, I have a sickness. I'm up all night just looking at this stuff. Sorry.
I'll have the nails for Friday.
Excellent. Wait, what was the bet, Bobbywow?
Bears win. I get to be Caleb.
All right. That's what it was. There it is. Bears won. We're getting nail painted Bobbywow.
What a win, man. We've lost that game so many times these last couple of years.
Yeah, we're getting I can't believe they won. That's a turnaround for the whole freaking franchise. Or they found the one franchise that finds a way to lose more than the Bears do.
Either way,
one or the other. I want to see another win before I buy in, but Caleb let me down. He let me down. I'm not painting my nails. Not after that 13-point disaster. Nope.
Yeah, I know DFSers will be all up in arms again, but Caleb did what he needed to do. It was beautiful.
Yeah. All right,
good stuff, man. Everyone. I'm excited about this slate. Let's take something down.
This went way longer than it was supposed to. I like hanging out with you. I'll keep you here all day. I don't care. And hanging out with the audience. I love all you guys. All right. No, but we do have to wrap it up. Let's make some lineups. Good luck tonight. We'll see you for the rest of all the DFS excitement all week long. Like, subscribe, notify, promo code Geek, Sharp app, and DFS Army. Good luck tonight. Helmets up, everyone.